Welcome back to the IndeVets Happy Hour. I am your host, Dr. Andrew Heller. I'm here with my co-host, Dr. Marisa Brunetti. On her couch, as usual, with her dog, with beer in hand. We have one final episode in our vaccine series, and I'm going to give it all over to Marisa to talk about. But we want to thank you for listening to the entire vaccine series, and we want to talk a little bit today about the companies that make vaccines. So take it away, Marisa.
Thanks, Andrew. For those detail-oriented people, notice why Marisa wanted to do this short podcast and Andrew didn't.
I'm just going to sit here and drink beer. Okay.
That's totally fine. I'm pretty comfortable sitting on my couch talking about vaccine types. But the reason I thought that talking about the different companies is important is for a number of reasons. One, not all of them are the same. Some of them offer different things. And so if you are choosing vaccines for a veterinary hospital, it's really important to know what you're getting into. Number two is, especially for IndeVets, hey guys out there, we have over 100 of you now. We work in tons of different practices, and it's important to know who's making which vaccines that you are personally putting inside of pets. So I have used all of these. I'm sure you have as well, Andrew. And me personally, I won't speak for Andrew, although sometimes I'd like to.
What? I wasn't listening.
Yeah, that's our relationship. But there are four main companies in the animal health space that make vaccine lines that you guys have probably heard of. A major one being Zoetis. And if you hear Vanguard or see it, that's Zoetis' vaccine line. They also have something that not all companies have, which is a bivalent influenza vaccine. If you guys all remember, a few years ago, there was only one strain of influenza that we vaccinated against, and then another major strain came up. And so we were like double vaccinating for each strain. And then finally, the companies made a bivalent. So H3N8 and H3N2. And then another vaccine that Zoetis has that no one else has is the crLyme vaccine. And you may notice, if you're working in a new hospital that has this, it is a more expensive Lyme vaccine. And that's because it's a vaccine against OSP-A and OSP-C, which are the major outer surface proteins on Borrelia, which causes Lyme disease. So Zoetis, think Vanguard, and think crLyme. Elanco is the second major company that has vaccines, and you guys have definitely heard of them. They have Duramune and Rab Vac, which are the big ones for dogs. So that's, your distemper, parvo, and your rabies. And they also have Bronchi-Shield, which is your bordellas and parainfluenzas and other vaccines that go up your nose. And their cat line is called Fel-o-guard or Fel-O-Vax. They have something special too. They have the Ultra line. And so for cats, and it actually has 50% less volume for their FVRCP one, and it's non-adjuvanted. They also have an Ultra Fel-O-Vax, which is still 50% less volume. It is adjuvanted, but it doesn't have aluminum. So the Ultras are definitely something to look into if you want less volume in your vaccines. Third is BI, Boehringer Ingelheim, and they bought Merial. And Merial was the big vaccine manufacturer for Purevax. And so BI now has Purevax, rabies, leukemia, and they also do a Calician parvovirus and a rhinotracheitis one. For dogs, they have Recombitek, which you guys have heard of. I'm sure that's their Recombitek line, which is all the dog vaccines. And actually Imrab, which you guys know about as well, which was a Merial product, but is now a BI product. There's also, I didn't even know this, but Imrab is also called Rabisin. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Me neither. So I'm going with Imrab. And BI and Elanco, they do not have a bivalent CIV that I could find in their line. The last large company that has a vaccine line for animal health is Merck. And that's the Nobivac line, which you guys have heard of. And that is for cats and dogs. They do have a canine bivalent CIV vaccine. And then they also have a new line called the Nobivac Edge. And that's their half volume vaccines that, a lot of people are jumping on the half volume vaccines as well. And so Merck has that line for dog vaccines currently, Lepto and the distemper parvo vaccines. So there are four main companies in animal health that produce most of the vaccines that we see. And I do recommend brushing up on their manufacturer requirements, as well as have a link that you can report adverse reactions to, depending on what your practice uses.
And if you want to just have a quick overview from one of the manufacturers, you can always call them. They'll come and give you free lunch, and they'll sit there and talk to you about these things.
That is true. Don't ask me about prices, but obviously if you're a practice manager or an owner, you're going to definitely price all of these out, as well as, take into consideration the manufacturing, as well as the type of company and the support that they give. I think that's really important. So I think that is our last vaccine series, and I'm sure I'll come up with some new vaccine stuff to talk about. I don't want to ever
think about vaccines again. Oh wait, I have to every single day.
Yeah.
Just finish the whole thing up.
Thank you everyone for joining us here in my living room. I'm done my first beer, and I will be enjoying my Mad Elf, which is my favorite holiday beer. Thank you to everyone who's listened to our vaccine series. Please let us know if you have any questions. You can email us at clinical@indevets.com.
Cheers.
Cheers.